I have the feeling the more you know, the more you understand what you don't know, right? With every topic, you are gaining some knowledge and growing within the companies, and you need to understand accounting and you need to understand frameworks for strategies. Then in Kruger effect, right? When you put it in a practice, you are starting very quickly understand the gaps.
Apple announced that Tim Cook will be stepping down.
Did the change of leadership maybe 1 or 1.5 years too late? So they will have trouble in gaining the shares, which right now Claude, OpenAI. That's the problem and the flop of just announcing there will be Apple Intelligence and not delivering anything basically from it. It was a huge mistake.
Welcome back, everybody. We're live here today with a new episode. As always, myself, Alex, and we got Amir in the house, and I think by now hopefully everybody knows us, Amir, so maybe we'll give our guest a brief introduction, and then we'll get into the articles, of course, the headlines that we'll cover today. But today we have a very special treat. So we got Pawel Mroczkowski in the house. Pawel, both Amir and I obviously have interacted with you before. I don't know about Amir's impression. I'm sure he's got only nice things to say, but I took you as a polymath. I took you as a expert of many domains and a master of many as well. So we'll get into your background a little bit deeper. To tie it maybe in today's topic, as a quick preview, traditionally your background has been somebody who's taken very old school, let's call them unsexy businesses. You've applied your processes, your knowledge, technology first and foremost, and you kind of, let's say, revolutionized them in some way. And nowadays you're working at the edge of technology. You're working with robotics, digital twins, and in that whole space, which is, as we spoke before, exploding with all the autonomous robotics and Teslas and whatnot. So we'll definitely touch on that. And we're going to talk about the topic of reinvention specifically in the business world. Old school companies, new school companies, companies that are dying off, and how they can be reignited and re-energized. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. It's so much fun and so much insights. It's fun for me. Thank you.
And Amir, as always, how you doing? Tell us where you are today, which part of the world?
I'm good. I'm in Africa today. I'm in Tanzania. It's always good to see you, Alex. It's always good to see you, Pawel.
Likewise.
A lot of fun we're going to have today with Pawel, to be honest. And I think all our TrickCasters audience today will be just enjoying this show. Guys, like, gear up. This guy had been building robots in his garage when he was 8 years old. So probably he didn't tell you that, but he is. So, and he has a lot to say to us, and we have a lot to learn from you today, Pawel. So as usual, we focus on the leadership, and we come back with lessons from the masters, and we make sure our guests enjoy that. So straight to it. Back to you, Alex.
The first headline we want to talk about is Apple announced that Tim Cook will be stepping down. And of course, John Ternus, the Senior Vice President for Hardware Engineering, he's going to be the new CEO as of September 1st, 2026. So Amir, sounds like something familiar, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't want to gloat about it, but yeah. I kind of had a word with Tim Cook, and we agreed together that a year ago, that it will be John. I think when that section comes and we start talking a little bit more about John, and we maybe remind our audience about what we said last year, why we think Ternus will be the guy, and why we think it will be announced on that time actually, and it goes. But yeah, like, we had 1 hour explaining exactly how Tim will think about it a while ago, but.
Yes, I think obviously the prediction came true. We'll add it into the clip as well with the original timestamps. But we had a couple different options of people that were rumored to be the next leaders to take over Apple. Of course, you were spot on with John Ternus, so we're definitely gonna talk about that.
So when it comes to Apple, and when it comes to Microsoft, when it comes to Albert, I think they all will find a way to tie them up today when we go into the details of how these companies are somehow, we are seeing them reinventing themselves again for different reasons, and think about it from that way. And I think Apple itself, and we covered that topic many times about Apple, also with Yahya on a detailed episode was on how Apple is actually trying to join the bus or reinvent the bus of AI, and I really definitely think John Ternus was the right choice to come in, given what we know about how Apple wants to. But before we dig deeper into the stories, I want to actually give Pawel a bit of we need to get to know Pawel, and we need to make our TrickCasters know Pawel the way we know him. So Pawel, what about you? Roll your sleeves a little bit and tell us who the hell are you? How are you the star of every event I go to? So,
Every tech event in Europe,
every
Pawel is
place
there.
I go and I see, I could definitely recognize him because of the height, but more than that, I think he just lenses it all. So Pawel,
I guess I'm just easy to find because of my height. That's true, but thank you guys. I'm trying to think now. You introduced this three very very up to date topics and how I actually fit into this story. And I think, to be honest, I did 5 startups. I'm right now in the 5th one, and the story of entrepreneurship, it's story usually of invention, or at least people are thinking about it like this. But the truth about proper entrepreneurship is what's happening after you founded your company, and the reinvention is the main driver for a successful startup always. And let's be honest, Apple, Meta, and Allbirds are just startups in a later stage, right? Or any company who is still trying to grow and gain some new market shares or go into new markets have this entrepreneurship in their blood. So I think I could have some words about maybe what's behind the scenes and how actually the brains behind those strategies are working. And maybe interestingly, I was also advisor to Microsoft Germany, so I had the pleasure to work with Satya and with a German team, and I know a little bit maybe on some insights how things are pushed, and they are pushed differently. And that's really beauty of a great leadership. You can not only understand it from a paper's point of view, but you can feel it in the organization. And this feel, it's what's later on is creating some push and drive and culture and everything which is around. And I'm really curious where we'll come with Allbirds to our conclusions maybe today. Because what they are doing, I'm not sure if it's reinvention or just completely new start. So I'm really curious on your thoughts. I did my thinking a little bit about it. So I will keep you a little bit on the edge to find it out. But yeah, that's probably basic.
How did it all start with you, Pawel? So where did it start, and how you land up building Robotics, advising Microsoft, and what really drives you there?
Yes. All right. So just from the beginning, I do just a shortcut. I'm coming from an engineering family, so both my parents were engineers. My father had his own small company for prototyping of robotics, and really from 14 years old, wasn't 8. From 14 years old, I was actually programming robots, also for big companies like Nestle and some other big players at that time in Poland. And yeah, after doing it for 5 years, with 19, I decided, okay, enough of techniques. I need to do something else, and I decided to explore the world. And I said, I will be a musician. So that's why here my beloved viola is hanging behind me.
Mhm.
I went to university in Germany. I studied music for 5 years. I was professional musician, actually, with my string quartet, Aquila string quartet, for many years. And then due to an accident, I had to change the career very quickly. And yeah, within 2 weeks, I met my business partner, and we started a first company. At that time was 2007 in Hanover. And yeah, basically we were pivoting through a lot of different stories. We started 2007 with real estate, and of course everybody knows what happens 2008, right? So we had to change quite quickly what we are doing and how we are doing. Maybe that's even more important. It wasn't what we are doing; it was how we are approached the business. We stayed in real estate, but we switched within the industry to the different way of doing it. And that was the time when I said, okay, we cannot just copy the traditional way of doing. We need to reinvent whatever we are approaching, and that's where my fascination with digital transformation came again, right? I loved it already in robotics and how you can change traditional factories into some robotized version on automated systems, and this thought is really living inside of me my whole life since then. And yeah, every topic we touched, I tried to digitalize and find new technologies, how to approach it, reach out to different people, learn, which is like a crucial part of any reinvention and a journey. So yeah, I was learning for the last 20 years or 19 and a half. And yeah, that's where I am right now. I went through just maybe the broad spectrum of my my understanding. I went from real estate into electronics and retail into manufacturing. So we are producing metal products and steel products, and then also into hard, or how you call it, handwerker. Sorry, I forgot the
Hardware.
craftsmanship.
Hardware.
Right.
Yeah, so we are organizing also craftsman stuff, and after all of this, I find out that my knowledge it's not on the level I actually wanted it to be, and I had a deep cut with my previous partner, and I said, okay, if I want to do something next, it should be not only on a regional European scale, it should be global. So I went to Harvard. That's where we know with Amir each other. We attended the same program. I mean, I was few years earlier than you
He's my senior.
there, but that's where the different way of leadership came into
Pawel,
my.
can I jump in there, because it's a very honest thing to admit that you have some knowledge gaps, right? Like, it takes a certain kind of person, first of all, to even admit that, especially publicly to your partner, not just to yourself. Was it specifically in leadership, or what was that knowledge gap that you're seeing? Like, obviously you're a polymath type of guy, you have a lot of interest, a lot of knowledge in different areas. What did you feel like that missing ingredient that was lacking?
Very good question. I have a feeling the more you know, the more you understand what you don't know, right? So with every topic, you are gaining some knowledge and growing within the companies, and you need to understand accounting, and you need to understand some frameworks for strategies and operational stuff. As soon you are out of the Dunning-Kruger effect, right?
Yes.
Where you, I learned something on one page and I understood it. When you put it in a practice, you are starting very quickly understand the gaps. And the more you do it, you will definitely very quickly understand that there is a long path in any direction you decide to do. And for me, it was just the moment I said, okay, I cannot rely just on knowledge of my partners. I need to have my deep understanding of some topics. And it's not enough just to exchange on a daily basis with some advisors. For quick decision making, you have to internalize a lot of the knowledge. So that was my motivator to do it. What I find out later on, it was completely different, and of course, learning at Harvard is a different story. So that surprised me and actually really transformed who I am as a person, which I didn't expect at that time. But I think that's a nice side effect of gaining knowledge and meeting amazing people.
So would it be fair to say that you went from kind of like the scrappy entrepreneurial hustler in a way to like trying to professionalize and trying to formalize some of that knowledge and try to really take it to like the next level? Would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, I was trying to do it already before, right? But you do it completely different when you understand that there are different ways of doing it, and that there is not a perfect answer for everything in the world. There will be the VUCA world is there, you will have to do the best you can with the information you are having. And you have some support of frameworks and so on. But the network, people around, and your human approach to what you are doing and actually motivating your team to support you in a specific way will be the success story of yours. So there's, of course, a lot of more of it in the background. But that was the change in my mind, definitely, and in my heart. Of course, digital transformation stayed there. So I actually, after Harvard, I met Piotr Wiśniewski, who is my co-founder in my current company, DBR77. And I'm back to robotics, automation, digitalization. And it was such a nice match because everything I did before was somewhere there, right? So manufacturing, robotics, software, digital transformation. It was like really, really fun to start this journey. And for us, 3 years, we're really, really pushing strongly.
And to be honest, Harvard is an eye-opener experience because like people look at Harvard from far, and you might get some glimpse about it from a movie or if you're watching Suits, Harvey and Harvard Law and all of that. But actually, it's not really about institutionalization or governance or putting it or professionalizing or whatever. It's about digging deeper really into the purpose and getting her to know how your purpose look like and get that purpose to reflect on how you do things. And then you get to get like-minded people, you debate everything, you discuss everything, you have ambush of questions where you need to just simply answer. And so probably Harvard is about making you question everything and then rearrange it again and get to know more into yourself. So maybe you step into the journey, Pavel, and you think you will learn all the tools to professionalize, which you do, but that's not really what you end up actually grasping out of that experience there. I don't know what you, but it was very rooted for me that it's going into the purpose more than going into the tactics. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, inside of Harvard already, yes, but I must be honest. When I decided or to try to get into the Harvard, it was for me, okay, I want the structured knowledge. And of course, if it's possible to have this grade name somewhere on my diploma, it will help, right? So that was the basic approach. I was so surprised how different the learning is and how the experience and the transformation you are going through is. It's nothing like I actually encountered anywhere before, right? You are in a living room with 8 people, which will become your best friends basically for life, right? So it's really, really smart way of creating international exchange with really experienced people. And then you are after exchanging the knowledge within your living area, you are put into the room with 80 experienced CEOs, CFOs, prime ministers, people who had such a colorful backgrounds and stories and knowledge. And then you start to understand, okay, everyone is having some doubts and there is no one who say, okay, that's actually the only way to do stuff. And the decision-making process is coming out of the discussions and understanding the situation and evaluation and giving voice to those who doesn't have the voice immediately, but maybe have the knowledge. And this experience, it's just extraordinary. Yeah.
And it's funny that you think of all the names around and you think of all the powerful CVs and experiences around you in the class, and you think, you feel like you're impersonating here. And then suddenly you realize everyone is thinking the same and everyone is thinking high of everyone. And and you come out that actually there's almost indefinite perspectives to the same topic. Just find the one that fits into aligns with you and go through with it. So
I'm really, because with this in mind, I'm also approaching our today's conversation, right? We will talk about people. It's not just organization. Behind all the decisions which are done, there are some person and some doubts and some misunderstanding and gaps in the knowledge. And the outcome of what we are seeing, it's just the sum of a lot of different sub-decisions and just pushing forward in some specific direction. But the outcome might be different than it was planned. And so the human part of it is very interesting for me. And I loved it that you tied it always to the person, to John at Apple and Satya. It's really quite interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely about the people. So we have actually literally 4 people we can talk about today. So we have John and Tim, and of course like I cannot talk about Apple without Steve and how the line is coming through. And then Satya have reinvented Microsoft once, and I feel we are seeing another wave. Mark Zuckerberg, I kind of always feel he and Sam Altman are of the same token. And then the last gentleman that we're going to talk about today is Brown and Zwilliger, the two founders of Allbirds, and how they trying to. How did it go wrong with them, and how they're trying to put it all together? Shall we begin?
Yeah, let's get into it. So just as a quick recap, Amir, as we already humble bragged that we did predict that John Ternus would be the follow-up to Tim Cook. Obviously, it's happening. How do you want to dissect that? Like, obviously, in your opinion, it's probably the best choice they had. But is there any doubt there? Do you think he's the right man? Or maybe we can throw this to Pawel as well. Like, what are your thoughts of whoever takes over the reins of Apple?
You want to go first, Pawel?
Amir,
yeah?
You start.
I definitely think a couple of things here. So, Apple Steve Jobs has been the Apple of actually literally playing out that desire. I think we talked the details in one episode about even Apple is the way it's coming. It was from Adam's Apple and driving the sexiest products in the world, where you can definitely just want to take that product and like take the bite. And Adam didn't know the taste of the apple, and he decided to sacrifice the heaven completely for that apple. And the root and the deep thinking of Steve Jobs on how creating a desirable product and making sure that just like you jumping on it, the sleek, the simple, that. And then the Apple Tim Cook is the Apple of consistency, operating. You almost know the new iPhone 1 year before the new iPhone. They're taking their stuff easy before it comes. I would say the most, revolutionary product they have done in the Tim Cook time was the AirPods. And then maybe like a completely failure process with the Vision Pro. But it has grown tenfold.
AI as well didn't really... AI as well was a big letdown from Apple. I think to the point where now they've collaborated with Gemini, with Google.
This is exactly the point, actually. This is where I was trying to head in. Till AI hit. So far, it was working well with them. Like NFC comes across, Samsung goes first. Yeah, we don't care. Rearrange it a little bit and we call it Apple Pay. And then we come with the Apple ecosystem. I don't know, small headphones. All right, cool. Let it go. We will rearrange it a little bit and we come with the AirPod. And we come second with the best product till AI hit. And when AI hit, they went into a very similar catastrophe to the time when Steve Jobs was coming back to Apple. And the way Tim Cook has been trying to recover it from that rabbit hole was almost the playbook of Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs, when he came back to Apple, he came and said, okay, you have we have three things. We have a brand that will always come top 5 in the brands. We have partners that they like us, which was in this case Microsoft. And then we have the designers and the creative ecosystem that they still believe in us. And then he went and did this arrangement about Microsoft Explorer, Microsoft Office, and brought that into Apple. And when then the Mac OS started to come back to life again, and he started recovering the business of Apple. And probably it was the first time when he was wood in a place. It was when he said that he will collaborate and partner with Microsoft. And then Tim Cook again found himself into the hole. Then he tried to, okay, let's collaborate with OpenAI, which is really Microsoft. And then if, let's see how it works. It didn't work. Let's collaborate with Google and coming to the Gemini. But he kept saying something. And that's where it leads us to why I guess he will bring John. He kept saying, I don't care about the models. Models are slim margins. Everyone will compete in the model. I want to compete in the use case and the hardware and the integration efficiency. The two things around the model. And that felt like the right place to go is to find a person that will integrate the strongest possible hardware into the brain of Siri and let it work with different models. And it felt natural that that guy will come. The last note before I hand it over to Pavel, John Ternus will be a guy, as I also said last time, will be the guy that I will think twice before I pass on for the role, and I think twice before I hire for the role. Because he's so important to the business in where he is now, that when I take him from that role, I think they will struggle to find a successor on the role that he's holding now. And also he's so important to the business to put another CEO. So that's my line of thinking. I think John will reinvent the hardware of a game and come back with that new brain for Apple. What are your thoughts, both of you?
Pawel, all to you.
So let me start with, I don't know John, right? I know something about John, but I don't know John. And I think for reinvention, you need character, not only the knowledge. So yeah, I'm missing some information, and my guesses will be probably just vague on that. Usually, my feeling is that will be great move to have someone from engineering team leading the next step of Apple. But maybe for slightly different reason. I'm not sure if the reinvention will really happen, because my feeling is that quite a lot of it happened already. And they need someone to utilize what's actually there than to start completely new stuff, right? I mean, if you technologically look what's actually is there on Apple, they have the M chip, right, which is the combination of GPU and CPU in a really, really efficient way. They are so far ahead before every of their competition on that place. They are not utilizing it to any potential on AI currently, right? Let's be honest, it's horrible. But it might be also this typical Apple tactic. Okay, let's see which directions we are going and how things are working and how to position ourselves in this world. I think they just made the mistake too quickly to say, okay, we are also now on AI out of the pressure from everyone else, and they created this Apple Intelligence. It was just a fake. We know the story. And in the end, of course, it felt on their feet. But when you think technologically, Apple have the capacity to do incredible stuff and to do it immediately. And that's completely different to all other companies which needs to buy new, completely expensive chips from NVIDIA and integrate them into systems. So there's such a huge load of work which needs to be done in other companies. And I think, of course, it's a lot of work at Apple too, but you have completely different start point. You have M5, it's a 5th generation of optimization in energy usage for technological chips, which are actually combining this, what the world discovered in last 3 years, that it might be necessary, right? I think the John's main task will be utilization of the capacities in the first place, then the reinvention. And when you start utilizing your capacities, then the inventions are coming because you see capacities and possibilities and ways someone didn't do it before you, which you want to explore. Or let's be honest, what Apple did always was buying startups which are already exploring this stuff. So giving access to some technology to the market, and then of course buying the right people and the right ideas and implementing them into their ecosystem. That will be a crucial part, which you need an engineer for, right? So I think it's absolutely great move for them. But if it works, I think it's more dependent on the character of the person than the knowledge only, right? You have so many.
Do you think he will reinforce? But if I am reading between the lines of what you're saying, so there was definitely a superior hardware in Apple, and maybe not, its potential is not exploited to the maximum within the current products of Apple, and placing John on that role would actually kind of force the gears into going into utilization of that hardware?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was one of the people working on Switch, right? From to M1 chips, right? So he has such a deep knowledge on everything which is necessary actually to be successful in utilizing this technology to the max. And we see already the difference between M4 and M5. They don't do much AI, but you definitely structurally are prepared to do really hard stuff on device without connecting you to some servers and doing stuff behind. So that's the power which is incoming. You will have actually AI on device without changing much of your infrastructure necessary to do it. Right. So yeah, I think there will be quite interesting things coming in our direction next year.
Alex.
If I can jump in for a second, because I'm definitely feeling like the scholar, taking lots of notes. And as you guys are talking, some ideas I had that kind of align with Pawel, and some things you just open up my eyes to Pawel. So I thought to myself, if I'm in charge of Apple, if I'm part of the leadership, I think the idea to go and double down on hardware is absolutely brilliant. That's what I would do. You have a hardware guy who's now the head of this company that's got such a big advantage, Pawel, as you mentioned. And like the models, like you said, are becoming a commodity, right? And Apple could always, with such a big, let's say, financial cushion, they can always invest in some companies, or they can always take a share in OpenAI and all these other companies and bring it in somehow. But if they double down on hardware, I think they can achieve much more. You look at what Jensen is doing with Elon. They're collaborating on completely new kind of chip manufacturing, whatnot. If that's already your advantage, you're that far ahead, why not double down that way? And it opens a lot of other pathways. Pawel, obviously, down your alley is robotics. I think Apple could win being the second or third incumbent to copy the Optimus or to copy the Neo robots and make them Apple style. Like, people will pay premium to have an Apple humanoid robot in their house, right? And if you've already got the hardware advantage, I mean, you could just blow it out of the water. You got the AR stuff as well. And the second point that Pawel, you opened up, when you mentioned that one of the things they could do is they could run potentially the AI, the computation on device that is happening in real time potentially. And why doesn't Apple double down on their image as being kind of the most secure and private out of phone manufacturers and allow private models that run on your device without sending all your data to Sam Altman? I mean, that would be brilliant. With their marketing, I think they could absolutely win in those two departments.
Yeah, you touched on a point I was thinking quite a lot about and didn't figure it out. But that's definitely something which the core of Apple always is radiating, right? We are secure. We have ecosystem which works in a closed way, and using basically any OpenAI any LLM model is starting to trickle down into maybe my data will go in a direction I don't want to go, right? So their on device possibilities and capacities is already helping to go in the right direction and keep it in the ecosystem. They have different problem. They have problem of time, right? The speed the other companies and also outside of USA are developing it's quite remarkable. And we know all the stories about companies who just like Nokia. I mean, they were so huge. They had all, as you said, they have capacity. They just have to do something, right? If you are past the moment and you miss the opportunity, you will be out of the market and it will be really hard to gain the share. And I have the feeling that AI did the change of leadership maybe 1 or 1.5 years too late, right? So they will have trouble in gaining the shares, which right now Claude, OpenAI, DeepSeek, and all the others are actually already having, right? I'm getting used to already some tools. So you will have to really convince me to switch from something. And to be honest, I'm trying every week some new AI tool, which
Hermes, OpenClaw, it's always something new.
Yeah. So that's the problem for Apple if they will be too late with introducing their way of thinking, at least, or making people prepare for that. And the flop of just announcing there will be Apple Intelligence and not delivering anything basically from it. Yeah, it was a huge mistake. Actually, that was the moment they should say, okay, let's switch up the gears.
There is another giant that really missed the bus as well, like Amazon. There's really like the two people that have created the first personal assistants like Siri and Alexa. They both kind of missing the bus. But I'm more lean to feeling that Apple's bet about privacy and security and about the superiority of the experience on device AI. I think that's what they're betting on, and I feel that's what they're heading to, because everyone else is focusing on cloud-based AI, at least the big ones, and they have data centers. Also, most of the NVIDIA investments and most of Google investments, the GPUs and the TPUs are actually all pushing toward. I cannot have a GPU in my phone; it's like this size. So, and it's more moving into the cloud, and the only ones pushing into the direction, maybe with little bit trial from Samsung into making it on device, is definitely Apple, and that's a big. And they are also really tackling always the right things when it comes to the hardware. And I think that's what fits into John. If I want to do on-device computing, I'll probably need a truck of battery with me next time, or a charger, like I keep charging like every 2 seconds, or I wire myself to something. So, and the way they are improving this battery efficiency day after day and software after software, probably that's their bet, and they will come to the market with that in AirBot AI and in phone AI and in watch AI and in car AI and so on and so on and so on, where the bridge of the GPU cannot really fit into that wearable. That might seem to be the way, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly my point, right? Everyone who used just Windows computer and then used the comparable Mac laptop, right? You have lifetime. If you have a GPU on a proper level on your Microsoft system, you will be after 1 hour probably out of battery. It doesn't matter which laptop you are having. And Mac, you can max it out, yeah, and still 6 hours later are still going. Yeah, so the energy efficiency and usage actually of the combined CPU GPU capacity of a M chip, it's incredible. Well, and they are already like 10 years ahead of everyone with this. So yeah, that's quite fun.
Pawel, thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to have you on again in the near future, and all the best of luck and success in your companies and your endeavors.
Guys, thank you, and thank you to everyone
Thanks
for listening.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Take care.